Oh, God. So you realize, of course, that the last time we talked about Picard was because we watched just the first episode.
Yep.
Yeah. And that now, having finished the second season, we have to, talk about the whole season.
The whole fucking season. Oh, God.
We literally just finished the last episode of the second season of Picard.
Dude, I want to say that I'm done with this show. Oh, man. I want to say that, but...
Fuck no.
Dude, I'm going to have to watch at least the first... I have to know how they bring the original cast back.
I have to know how bad it gets. I mean,
at least, unless they're lying to us, at least there's only one season left of this shit.
So I was talking to my friend Ben from Drunken Peasants, and shout out to Drunken Peasants, amazing show on YouTube. And he was making fun of me when Star Trek Picard season 1 came out. He's like, "Oh, it's the best show ever," because I was just bitching about it. And then you convinced me to watch it while drinking, and then I fell in love with it. We were talking about it just 2 nights ago, and he was like, I don't understand what's happening. And I'm like, dude, season 1 you could find fun in.
Right.
Because it's trash.
Right. It was fun to make fun of and to drink and watch and about how ridiculous it was.
And it was coherent, even though it was stupid and awful and miserable.
Really stupid and
awful cynical
and
shitty. But it was funny.
Yes, it was hilarious.
This season was boring.
It was pointless. It was fucking pointless. And there were so many plot threads that just got dropped that they didn't even give a shit. Or shit that was wrapped up with literally one sentence in the finale.
Yes. The overall plot of this season is that Picard needs to get sent back in time by Q to see the road not traveled, because apparently in an alternate timeline, if things get changed in the past, then they become this ultra fascist state of
hold on, stop before we get into any of this. You said that they have to be. No. There isn't a have to be. Q does all of this shit just out of nowhere to teach Picard some lesson about opening his heart.
Yes. No, I was getting to that.
Okay.
And so they have to go back in time. They see their super fascist state of human beings and racial purity and annihilating the galaxy. And so they have to go back in time. Slingshot around the sun like Kirk's Enterprise did. And to, of course, modern times, because it's cheaper.
Kirk's Enterprise met a watcher named Gary Seven.
And then they have to make sure the future goes the way it's supposed to be. And then we find out at the end of it is because Q is dying for no reason, and he wants to free Picard from trauma.
He's got continuum cancer.
That and he was huffing too many nebulas, and he got continuum cancer. And so he did this all so that he could free Picard from an existential crisis that he had that nobody ever knew he had.
Because his mother died because he found his mother's body when he was 8 years old.
Right.
Because he unlocked a door when his dad locked his mother in a room for her own protection, and she got out and killed herself.
Yeah. Well, we'll dive into that in a minute.
He left himself the key.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Fuck it. Let's dive into that. Let's dive into that.
It.
So this whole thing is predicated on this idea that Picard is a shattered man. And we've never seen this before in any Star Trek ever, even season 1. And this is all because when he was a little boy, his mom was schizophrenic. His dad, played by the guy who played Gaius Baltar in BSG. BSG is awesome. Shout out to BSG. Locked his mom in basically a cage in their French catacombs or some shit.
No, it was in the room. They kept going into the catacombs.
Oh, that's yeah.
She wanted to escape.
And when she was hollering, he'd lock her in there.
Jean-Luc.
Yeah. And then boy Picard finds a key, and he unlocks it, and his mom, in a schizophrenic freakout, runs off and then hangs herself.
Well, he doesn't just find this key. He finds this skeleton key that'll open any room in the mansion, and it's hidden in a brick in the wall.
Right.
And so he opens the door, and it leads to his mother hanging herself in the atrium.
Yeah, and so the whole thing is like at the last episode is Picard is in the past, and he hides the key to make sure that he will then free his mom so she'll hang herself.
And Q says something about a timeline where Picard doesn't give himself the key back, or makes some kind of mention of it, do you grow up with a mother? That's exactly what happens. Okay, this is an alternate timeline.
Yes.
All of Picard is an alternate timeline where something was altered in the past, and Picard gave himself the key. In the Picard that we know from the Next Generation,
right?
He never left that key.
He
for
never
himself.
left the key, and probably because all it was whether or not his levels are off due to aromatic syndrome.
Yes.
Yep. So yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. Yeah, for
that's
sure.
The only way that I can be okay with this shit. Do we want to talk about the surprise cameo?
Not yet.
No. Okay.
Not yet.
It's a surprise.
Now there's another overarching theme around this. There's a container around it, but it's not the point of the series. It's just a thing, and it's before Q snaps them. They are under attack by a new Borg. And it turns out that it is Jurati, who is insufferable as fuck. And she is now 400 years old because she went back to the past, merged with the Borg Queen, and now she's good Borg, with a pretty cool ship, admittedly. And
the stupid face, though.
Oh my god, I can't stand that fucking actress. I cannot stand that actress.
Not even just Alison Pill, but the way that they made the Borg Queen look when she took off her
terrible
helmet was really dumb.
Oh my god, so bad. And then she does have a really good singing voice. I'll give her that. But her character in this just drives me fucking nuts. And so now she's a good Borg.
Pat Benatar is probably her favorite thing to sing at karaoke night.
Isn't it yours?
Yes.
I mean, come on, it's Pat Benatar. Anyway, so I wasn't joking about that either. Pat Benatar is pretty fucking great. So she's good Borg, and she needs to borrow the fleet. And the fleet's like, oh, okay. Picard's like, oh, yeah, just give her all the ships.
I trust you. Take over.
And she needs the ships so they can make a big, giant shield to stop the MacGuffin. I mean, a giant hole in space.
Oh, my God, yes. With 11 minutes left in the episode,
yes,
Queen Agnes Borg comes, or what are people calling her? Borgatti or
Borgatti?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But she comes in and she's like, I need your help. There is something that's going to wipe out all life in the quadrant. And she gets fucking 15, maybe 20 ships.
Yeah.
And they get up and they just use all of their shields.
Yeah. And then they block the MacGuffin beam. And then we don't know anything else about it. And she's like, we the Borg want to be members of the Federation so we can be the Watchers on the Wall.
I thought she said the Guardians at the gate.
Go, what the fucking, who fucking cares? Jesus fucking Christ. I swear to fuck.
Stupid.
And then that's the end of that plot device.
Yep, galaxy-ending threat.
And you say 11 minutes to the end of the episode, but that whole sequence took 3.5 minutes.
It was done in fucking the quickest time that a galaxy ending level event has ever been fixed in Star Trek history ever.
I'm surprised they weren't high-fiving. Teamwork. Hey, Picard and the Borg Queen hit high five.
That's the power of science.
Shatters every bone in his fragile little 80-year-old body.
No, dude, he's got an android body now.
Oh, that's right. Well, no, see, they simulated the android body, so his bones are still very brittle.
He's got osteoporosis.
Yes,
simulated osteoporosis.
Osteorobosis. I don't fucking.
Anyway,
all right. So that's the basic container, and the story is inside of that. And there's 10 episodes. Episode 1 deals with the plot. Episode 10 deals with the plot.
Everything in between.
is boring and pointless.
And stupid. So if you want to know what happens on Picard and you don't want to watch the whole show, just watch the first and the last episode.
Exactly. Yeah, you could totally do that. You might miss a couple of plot points, like Laris's ancestor.
No, you'll get that because she's in the last episode.
Well, yeah, but
introducing
what she is and that
okay,
whole
then watch,
thing.
No, don't watch the second.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even fucking bother. But so the smaller story one of the smaller stories that's inside of it is like, in order for the future to be the way the future's supposed to be, is Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Rene Picard, an ancestor of Jean-Luc, is supposed to go on a mission to Europa.
But do you remember where she finds the organism?
On Io. And I still don't understand how that happens. Like, because the writers did not know what they were talking about. So the mission is going to Europa. It's not an advanced spaceship. It's a fucking rocket.
No, it's a fucking rocket.
It's just a rocket. So I don't know how they go from Europa, like, oh, we're just going to swing by Io. Maybe that was just a fuck up in the writing.
We've got some extra fuel for it. Don't worry about it.
Because then in the last episode, they say that she finds it on Europa. So I think
maybe it was a writing error.
I think it was just a writing error, and they just said fuck it.
Okay, but she finds an organism on we'll call it Europa.
Sure, and it ends up helping like clean up the oceans and the air and shit like that. It
ends up helping Rios' stepson clean up the ocean.
We can get there in a minute. Hang on. So anyway, Jesus Christ, all of this is
Auntie Renee.
None of it is given due diligence. Okay,
no.
So she has to go. And Q wants to stop her, and if she doesn't do that, instead the future is dictated by Noonien Soong's Adam Soong, who is whatever the fuck his name.
Brent Spiner?
The fucking guy who made it. It's his ancestor.
Yeah.
If she dies, then he will be the godfather of humanity with his genetic research, and that's what makes us all like turbo Nazis.
Right, I guess.
Yeah.
They don't explain how. Like if the organism doesn't come to clean up the ocean, then genetics
he does it through genetics or something.
Humanity?
Yeah. I don't know.
Those two things are completely related.
Sure.
Directly.
Fuck, why not?
And so after Adam Soong loses, he pulls a pulls a file out of his desk, like a classified, and it says the Khan Project.
Yeah. So he's gonna be the guy that. Yeah. I mean, fuck, why not?
Khan Noonien Singh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came from Adam Soong.
Yeah.
Why not?
Fuck it. Everything. You know what? It's so Star Trek, when you do this shit with Star Trek, it makes it a lot like the problem with Star Wars. The problem with Star Wars is an amazing world, an amazing universe,
huge.
But everything is always focused on the fucking Skywalkers. Always. Or the Palpatines. Always. That's all it's ever fucking about. And that's why like the supplementary stuff is actually kind of interesting and cool. Because it's not having to deal with the same old, tired fucking bullshit. But when you start entwining everything, like, actually, Data has a lot to do with Khan, because Khan was made... Like, shut the fuck up!
Don't you see? Data is the end perfect result of that genetics program that Adam Soong started. See, like he is the perfect man.
So if you think about it, then fucking Shoju is like the ultimate, right?
Oh God. So anyway.
Yeah, and so like we can use this as a segue to like the person who's been protecting Rene Picard is Laris's ancestor, who is a Gary 7. Now, to explain that, there is an episode of the original series called Operation Earth. I actually really love it, but it is not like a Star Trek. It's not a Star Trek episode.
Yeah,
It was a spin-off for a new show where there's a super secret agent who travels around through space and time making sure that things happen how they're supposed to happen. A guy named Gary 7. It's actually kind of an interesting premise, and it was kind of a fun episode if you can divorce it from being Star Trek. So rather than just like kind of give that a pass, as every other writer in Star Trek has, they're like, you know, it'd be cool If the chick that Picard wants to fuck, her ancestor was a Gary 7, bro.
I loved that episode, man. We should totally bring it back.
Yeah. And so that's what they fucking do.
Not only do they bring it back, but then they tie it into our secret cameo.
Yes, and this is where shit... I screamed.
Dude, I mean, like, I will give the finale one thing. Like, for 2 seasons in a row, the finale has just been, like, a complete fucking shitting its pants.
And this is why, before we talk about this, okay, I was ready to give up. Before the finale here, I was going to give up because it was so fucking boring and nothing made any sense. And nothing still makes sense. Nothing makes sense at all. But this was so fucking dumb. All of it was so fucking dumb. Like, I was upset, but I was also laughing out of desperation on the inside. And that's why I'll watch season 3, because this was so fucking dumb. So they have to use all the characters from season 1 in some other role, if not the regular role, which is why you have Brent Spiner coming back, Laris in a different role, and blah, blah, blah.
Corey.
And then there's Corey,
or Soji,
played by the
Soji
same
Corey,
person who played Shoju.
Shoju.
And Corey is this genetic mutant that was made by Sung, whatever. And there's a plot about that, and it's dumb. And I still don't even fucking barely understand it because it just is so incoherent.
It's like wrapped up in 30 seconds.
Every time you see Korra, you're like, why? What is the fucking point of this? Like, who gives a shit? Apparently, it's a segue because when she's finally free, she suddenly gets interrupted by...
No, she gets a message.
Oh.
She gets a message on her tablet that says, "Want to know what comes next?
Yeah.
Come meet me here."
Yeah. And she's suddenly introduced to...
someone who used to be Wesley Crusher.
Once upon a time, I went by the name Wesley Crusher.
Yeah, so Will Wheaton is back in Star Trek, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, I got to be honest with you. I fucking hate Will Wheaton. He is terrible. He can't act. He's obnoxious.
There was no difference between this performance and an episode of The Ready Room.
No,
it was the exact same Will Wheaton.
Yeah, the exact same. And even worse, if you ever go back and watch, it's on YouTube, the Will Wheaton Project, when he tried to do like a family clean version of Tosh.0, holy shit, was that bad. Same performance. That's all I know.
Same.
All there is smug Will Wheaton going... Anyway.
And he can't wipe the grin off of his face ever.
So he's like, I am what's known as a traveler. Which I always liked that plot line before I realized Will Wheaton was a piece of shit. I always thought that was kind of interesting because he was an obnoxious character, but that was something to kind of make him like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, he's super smart and shit. Like, whatever, that's fine. I'm glad he's gone. But apparently, the Gary Sevens, the supervisors...
Bring it all back around full circle here.
...are hired by the Travelers.
The Travelers are the supervisors of the Watchers or the supervisors.
Right. They're the supervisors. They watch the Watchers, right? And he's recruiting this genetic mutant to now be a grunt in apparently this overwatching multiverse. It's like the multiverse from Loki. The TSA.
The TVA, the time
TVA. Yeah. It's like the TVA.
Yeah, they're making it exactly like that. There's a big, huge tapestry of time, and we're the ones in charge of making sure that this one is the perfect one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but you know, I think it's kind of again bringing things back full circle, where an older, creepy male took a young teenager and gave him superpowers and made him travel the universe with him. Now he's doing the same thing, you know? He was groomed, and now he's grooming.
Okay, groomer. God damn it, Matt. God fucking damn it. I learned everything from Harvey Weinstein. So, look, here's the thing.
So, anyway.
Okay. Now, what was good about this season? I can tell you missed chances. They kill off Elnor.
So
I didn't even get a chance to laugh at his antics and how badly they mistreat him.
Then he's back. Well, there was the holographic Elnor.
Yeah, I don't even know why that happened. Like they for a brief moment in one episode they have a
so that the actor could get paid as much as everybody else.
An EMH, an emergency murder hologram.
It's an EHH, an emergency homicidal hologram.
Yeah, sure. So that was a missed opportunity, and I think that was really unfortunate.
It's one of the things that made it less fun this season.
Oh God. Okay, so we have to talk. Okay, Raffi sucked. She was terrible. She was terrible through the whole fucking thing. She was awful. Fuck Raffi. Fuck. I hate everything about that fucking character. 7 of 9 was boring. She didn't fucking do anything. It was dull. It was stupid.
She might have become the captain of the Stargazer by the end of the show.
The fever dream that was the 4 minutes of the end of the episode.
After we got to hear how Starfleet didn't want 7 because she used to be a Borg, even though Eject used to be a Borg and he was in Starfleet.
That didn't make any sense. Eject was in fucking Starfleet, and then she's talking about how like Starfleet is bigoted against people who are former Borg, and that's not true.
Yeah,
that's not true at all. The writers have never watched Star Trek before. They have nothing. They have no idea about the source material.
Nah.
And then one of the greatest sins is Rios. Rios is now gone.
The only decent character in the whole fucking show.
He's the only good character in Picard.
And he stayed in the past to become his own great-great-grandfather.
To be fair, to hook up with probably one of the hottest Latinas I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, she was definitely the best-looking one on the show. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure. But I mean, she was gorgeous, and she did really good. She was a good actress. Rios is a good actor. Like, their plot line involved like a social commentary on ice, and I felt it was very heavy-handed
for like an episode, and then they didn't.
That's the problem. It was very heavy-handed, and it was all ice is bad, but there was nothing about character development because once it was over, it didn't mean anything.
It didn't. It was just like ice is bad. Okay, we're moving on to the next thing.
And I don't like fucking
21st century is bad. Okay, now it's time to move on.
I don't like ice, but like at the same time, I'm like, if you're gonna be heavy-handed like that, it should have a point to the story, and it just didn't. It just ended, and they were like, oh well, whatever, that's over.
They weren't like, you know what your organization becomes in the future or something like that. They could have done that, and it would have been easily wrap up. Like, in the future, you guys are going to become the people that haul garbage away. I don't know.
Something, yeah.
Anything. It was just nothing.
It was really obnoxious. So that was really frustrating. But you know what? I'm glad Rios is gone. That leaves more room for trash for season 3.
Man, I don't know what to think about season 3. Like, I guess having the actors involved does not mean that it's going to be anywhere near as good.
Oh, the TNG people?
No, because they didn't write the show. I mean, if Jonathan Frakes is directing some episodes, the direction will be good, but that doesn't mean that the writing will be good.
No, if the writing has been incoherent and terrible, the creative decisions have been awful. Like, I mean, everything about Picard is shit.
It is. It's really bad.
It's really, really bad. And it doesn't matter how good your director is. It doesn't matter how good some of the actors might be. It can't save it. It's garbage. And I got to echo something Rich Evans said on Red Letter Media. Like, we're watching a show called Picard, but there's no character Picard there.
Yeah. I mean, while we're echoing Red Letter Media.
But at the same time, I think you were right that this is an alternate timeline where Picard self-sabotaged by giving
that's what happens in
trauma.
My head.
Yeah. No, me too. Me too, yeah.
But I will say, I'll echo something that Mike said from Red Letter Media, and that like it really does seem that every episode was written by a different writer that didn't watch the episode before. It's just like, here, let me tell you about it, and now you write the next episode.
It's kind of like, to bring it back to Star Wars, the sequel trilogy, where they were like, we think we know what we're doing, we're copying what we did before, and then you got Rian Johnson comes in, he's like, I'm gonna fucking mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you bring the other guy back in, and he's like, well, let's just tie this up, and it just doesn't make any nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
And this didn't make any fucking sense either.
Yeah, except for it was 8 episodes of that.
There's one more thing. If you have other stuff, we can talk about it too.
No, I'm done.
There's one more thing we got to talk about.
Okay.
Guinan.
Oh, Jesus.
We have to talk about Guinan. So
Time's Arrow didn't exist in this. That's how it's a different timeline, so that's why she didn't know him from Time's Arrow. See, even more evidence. Even more evidence that it's an alternate universe.
In Time's Arrow, They go back into the past, and Picard meets Guinan in like the 1900s.
I think it's the late 1800s.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
like 1883 or something like that.
Yeah, like Mark Twain is there and shit, and like that's how he meets Guinan the first time. But either this is an alternate timeline, or the writers don't know that Time Zero exists. Other people have said, well, because the timeline has changed, that Picard never ended up having the adventure to Time Zero. Dude, fuck you. Fuck off. What? No.
Yeah, Time Zero was before that. It was literally 1883, so yeah, it's got to be an alternate timeline.
And it still just is so broadly bizarre and strange, because if that's the case, and we're going by this alternate timeline where the Fasci people were, then traveling back to that...
Dude, no, stop. Hold on. Stop.
I just...
You're putting way too much thought into it. You're putting more thought than the writers put into this show, dude.
It is so fucking frustrating. And then the thing is, too, like, why did they... So they have Guinan later on in the show, but it's played by a totally different woman.
Right.
Which I think, honestly, they should have just done that for all of Guinan and just pretended that was Guinan.
Sure.
Fuck it. Don't even bring Whoopi back. Just be like, nah, that's Guinan.
She's racist anyway, right?
I don't fucking know. But the thing is, so now it's a totally different person playing Guinan and shit. What does she do in the show? What does Guinan do when they're in the past? Like, what does she do? What all does she contribute to the plot?
So, she drinks the Q juice.
Right, she drinks a bottle full of like Q jizz and tries to summon a Q,
and it doesn't work.
And then I guess it kind of works later or something.
She does some Meals on Wheels handouts or something in Skid Row. Like there's that one scene.
Yeah.
And then,
but to the plot,
she talks to the guy who got the mind meld.
I mean,
in the FBI interrogation, and that's it, dude. She doesn't contribute to the plot at all.
Right, and she doesn't contribute to the plot. The only thing that seems like she contributes to the plot is that she's the one that introduces Picard to Laris's ancestor, who was a Gary 7.
Right, that's right.
No reason why she would know who that is, or have any interaction or knowledge of it. And it's not like they could have just, maybe found a different way that Picard finds this Gary 7 Laris.
There's probably a secret,
Laris 7.
There's probably a secret hangout somewhere on Earth where all of the aliens that are pretending to be humans hang out in their free time.
Yeah,
and that's how Guinan and Talon, I think her name was.
I think her name is Talon.
Yeah, that's how Guinan and Talon probably knew each other.
Every time they said her name, Talon, I just kept remembering the fucking name of the ship, the warship in Farscape, and I'm just like, I could be watching Farscape instead of this. Why include her then? Why even bother putting her in the fucking show?
She was a social commentary, man. She was able to tell us how bad 2024 was.
We don't need to know. We're living it. We're aware. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. This show was a dumpster fire. I give it a 10 out of 10. Don't watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna say highly recommended you watch episode 1 and then episode 10.
Nah, I say skip it altogether.
Just because it's so fucking dumb and incoherent, and you can see the absolute mega cringe of Will Wheaton finally getting back on a Star Trek. Let's go see what happens next. Oh, wait, that's another thing. Core lived her whole life because the air was poisoned to her until a magic Q potion fixed her. Don't ask. Doesn't matter. It's all wrapped up in like 120 seconds. Who gives a shit? Dumb fucking plot. Anyway, so Core lived her whole life in isolation in a room, right? And so when Will Wheaton is recruiting her, he's like, you have two paths ahead of you. One of a safe, normal life, or one of purpose, but I can't guarantee your safety. Now, here's the thing. All you've been able to see about the world is things that you've been looking outside your window. You've never been able to leave and really experience what everybody else is experiencing. Would you choose that or one of purpose and potentially danger? I can't answer that question because I don't know, but I would say that it's probably pretty enticing to like go finally live a regular life. Yeah. I can think so.
Yeah, I don't think that she would think that was boring at all.
No, probably not, because she's never had ice cream.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake. Like so many things she's never had. But the reasoning she gives as to why she's going to join the Gary Sevens, Will Wheaton's Angels, is that I've never been safe. Bitch, what? You've never left your room. You've never left your room.
Yeah.
How can you not be safe?
Man, the writer of this episode didn't know that because they didn't watch the episode before.
They didn't watch the rest of the... Yeah.
Fuck.
Best show ever.
Yeah. So go watch it, or preferably don't, but that's what we think about it.
Go watch Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds is better.
That's actually good. Yeah. No. Fuck Picard. Holy shit. Alex Kurtzman, please get hurt really bad. All right, I'm done.
Me too.
Bye.